So my girlfriend's bike is getting an upgrade. Not that she needs it, but I need it so I can walk away with less bruising when I buy more bike parts for me. Hey folks, we're back again with another video, and today we're going to be installing a Shimano XTR M9100 12-speed drivetrain. So I've been collecting these parts for my girlfriend's bike all winter long, and I got some really good prices on them. But I figure she's not going to be riding her bike to the May-June time frame, and spring is right around the corner, so why not break them in on my bike before I put them on hers? So with that being said, let's get into the tools and parts needed for this job. As for tools, for starters, we're going to install the cassette onto a new wheel. Ultimately, if you're going to be replacing your cassette, you're going to need a cassette tool with a torque wrench to, well, put on the cassette, remove it, and put it on. Actually, if you remove an old cassette, what you will be needing is some kind of chain whip of some sort, right? I shouldn't be needing it in this one, but if you want to remove it, I probably go over it later so you can show you how to get it done, okay? But you will be needing a chain whip to remove the cassette because you can't do it with just this cassette tool alone. So then after the cassette's installed, we are going to install the derailleur, right? We're going to need a 5mm Allen to install the derailleur. And in my case, maybe not your case, the remote on the Shimano 12-speed has 11-speed and 12-speed buttons, basically. So you need a 2.5mm. I'm going to change it from 11-speed to 12-speed. So then we're going to install the chain. We got to size the chain. We got to cut the chain. So you'll need a chain cutting tool. And this tool comes in handy to install and remove quick links. And I created this third hand, which helps greatly, in my opinion, to hold the chain for you while you're putting in the quick link. This is nothing more than a copper hanger that I cut and bent and done. I've had it for, I don't even know, maybe 20 years. I have no idea how long I've had that for. So then after we're done with the chain, time to work on the derailleur cable and adjusting the derailleur. So we're going to need a cable cutter to cut the cable to length, right? And then when we work on the derailleur, we're going to need a 4mm Allen to lock the cable down, and then a 2mm Allen to adjust the derailleur and make sure our shifting and our indexing on our shifter is working correctly. And that's pretty much it, folks. If I'm missing anything, I can't think of it. Oh, you know what? You might need to crimp down the cable end. A crimper, you don't need this. You could use a plier, basically, but I really like this tool. So that might come in handy. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else. If there is anything else, I'm sure we'll cover it in the job. Let's go next into the parts. As for parts, we're going to be pretty much changing everything, right? Cassette, derailleur, chain, derailleur cable. One thing I will recommend, so I think on the bike right now I have the polymer one as opposed to the OptiSlick. Don't get the polymer one. That thing just frays like crazy. Stick with the OptiSlick. It'll cost you a lot less. Put a little bit of that grease on it and it'll do just great. You won't notice the difference. I already have the shifter on the bike. In fact, I put it on last fall. I think it was like last October or something. I'm going to be using that same shifter. It's a 12-speed shifter, but allows you to change it to 11-speed, which is what I'm running right now on the bike. So let's get into installing this drivetrain. First, we're going to install the cassette onto the wheel. Now, I bought a brand new wheel set for this season, and I made sure to order both XD driver and Micro Spline driver. For Shimano 12-speed, we need a Micro Spline driver. It's the one with the thin edges over here, right? The XG driver, the older one, had thicker splines, not edges. So make sure you have a Micro Spline driver. And for those of you who probably noticed already, no, I don't ride around in slicks. This is for indoors on a trainer. It's a lot quieter on slicks than it is buzzing around on mountain bike tires. Again, we need to make sure we have a Micro Spline driver. And if you look at the Micro Spline driver, it's all even splines except for one area of it. There's a wide spot. So put the wide spot on top, just so, or at the bottom, just so you know reference point as far as where you're at when installing this stuff, right? So first we're going to remove a spacer. It's a low spacer. It's the first thing we are going to install on the hub. Just be careful with it, removing it, right? We're going to take it and we are going to install it. There we go. All right. On the front, we have a cap. That cap screws into that plastic thing that holds it all together. We could remove the whole plastic thing, right? So let's just remove the whole thing like that. Put this part on the side for now. So this is the majority of the cassette. Again, it's Micro Spline. Again, we had that wide part on top. So find the wide part, right? So that's this one here. All these teeth are even except for this tooth over there. And we're just going to place this on the wide part, just like that. Now, when it comes to the rest of it, we're going to take the next tooth again, find the wide part, make sure we match it, just like that. Okay. Now, unscrew the cap. The rest that are going to come out. So we have a spacer first, and then we have our next one. Again, find the wide part, sit it like that. Now this is flush. Well, this is going to be the last one that sits in there. So again, find the wide part over here. Make sure it's sitting in correctly. There we go. Now, if you notice over here, we have a wide part here. And if we look underneath, we have a wide part there. And again, once we install it correctly, it should just fit in just like that. Future Zoobs here, folks. So I just noticed during editing that I did not have audio for installing nor torquing down the cap onto the cassette, so I'm forced to redo this clip. And I bring it up because the eagle eyes out there are going to notice that this cassette looks a little bit different. Yeah, it's the exact same cassette, but it's been used. The original footage I recorded, it's got to be 4 months now. That was like the first week of March. So again, this is the exact same cassette. It's just been used. Now, make sure the cogs, before putting the cap on, make sure the cogs are sitting correctly within each other. And then when we put the cap on, always start by hand. Screw it in by hand first. Make sure you get good threading by hand before using the tool. You do not want to strip the cap, or at least the threads on the cap. Then when you're confident, you take your tool, your cassette tool, screw it down, grab your wrench, screw it down a little bit more. And then we grab our torque wrench, 40 Newton meters. As always with torque wrenches, grab them from the butt of the handle. Never grab them like this, never grab them like that, right? You take it, put it in there, and torque it down to our target value, 40 Newton meters in this case, and boom, 40.2. Once again, done. Now let's go back into the past. So now we're at the bike and we need to remove the existing chain, which is an 11 speed. And to do that, I'm going to grab my little tool over here, my little chain tool, squeeze the quick link together a little bit, remove it, and boom. And now we pull our old chain off. Next, we're going to remove the derailleur. First, what I'm going to do, I'm glad I actually left myself slack. I'm going to cut the tip of the cable. I'm not going to change the cable. I'm going to keep it for now. I'm going to change it the next time. I have more than enough slack to change the derailleur, right? So we're going to cut that part off. Then I'm going to take a 4mm and we're going to loosen the cable holder. See what I mean by it frays? I haven't ridden it all that much, and look how much it's frayed already, right? So the OptiSlick doesn't do that. There's that polymer one. So let's loosen it. Let's pull it out for now. I'm going to pull this part of the cable out on top. Let that hang there. Grab my 5mm and loosen the derailleur bolt. Oh, am I in the way? Okay, watch it out, it doesn't fall. Oh, I gotta stretch over here. There we go. And we just removed our derailleur. Next, we want to install our new derailleur. Now, a couple of things to note. When we install it, if we look at the derailleur hanger, we have a notch over here, right? We need to make sure that this peg, for lack of a better term, sits on top of that notch, not underneath it when we put this in, right? Now, another thing to note, since we're looking at the rear now, we'll get into this later, but notice there's 45 tooth over here, okay? That's gonna come into play later when we adjust stuff. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna make sure that notch is sitting on top. Use my 5mm and screw it in. Always make sure your notch is sitting on top, or that little peg is sitting on top of the notch. Okay, so when we go down, it locks, and then grab our torque wrench. Now I do it to 10 Newton meters. Done, 10 Newton meters, and we're good. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our cable, just put it through temporarily for now, just like that. All right, make sure it's all the way in. Now, if we look at the bottom of the remote over here, you see a switch. This switch over here allows us to change this XTR remote from 11 speed to 12 speed, back and forth. So I have 11 speed on here right now, which is what it's set to. So I'm gonna take a 3mm Allen and just click it, boom, to 12 speed, and we're good. So now we're at the back of the bike and we are gonna install our rear wheel. Pull down the derailleur, pull it back up, put the wheel in, easy enough. Throw in your axle, just like that, kind of. And in my case, 6mm, and tighten it down. Next, we install our chain, right? So before you install a new chain, make sure to remove all exterior grease off of it. They put way too much grease. Grease does a chain no good. There's only negatives when it's outside. The only thing grease helps is when it helps is when it's on the inside of the inner rollers. Outside of that, it just collects dirt and wears out the chain much quicker. So make sure to remove as much of that exterior grease as possible, right? Now, when it comes to Shimano chains, we need to see the letters, okay? So that's how you know it's on the right side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass it through the middle cog first to make my life easier. Then I'm gonna put it through the chain guide. Okay, and then let's roll it, grab it with my finger, take it around, come on. And slowly but surely, let's wrap it around. Just like that. In order to size the chain, we need the chain wrapped around the chain ring and the largest cog, okay? And then we need to find what Shimano calls the 0 point. So the 0 point is the point where when we wrap the chain around, okay, and you fill the teeth with with links, okay? Let's see if I can do this in camera so you can see it good. It is the last pin of use, essentially, right? So we cannot go any forward. This is the last pin that could sit inside a cassette tooth, right? So that is our 0 point. So from there, we count pins to figure out where we need to cut. So in my case, I have a full suspension bike. It's either gonna be 5 or 6 pins. Why 5 or 6 pins? Because we need to end, you have your wide pins and your wide links and your narrow links inside, right? Your smaller links. We need to end at a smaller link. So in my case, since this is my 0 point, I'm counting from here. Well, in all cases, when this is your 0 point, we're counting this as pin 1, okay? So 0 point we don't count. We count pin 1, 2, 3, for hardtails, it's either gonna be 4 or 5, or for full suspension, it's gonna be 5 or 6. So for me, it's gonna be 6. Why is it gonna be 6? Because if I cut the 5th pin, well, that's a wide point. I can't connect the quick link on it, right? It has to connect to one of these narrow links, okay? So again, 0 point we don't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I can't use. So my pin that I need to remove is this one here. And that's where I'm gonna grab a marker. And we're gonna mark that. And now that we marked it, I could grab my chain cutting tool, right? I put it on the mark, just like that. Spin it in. Make sure that I am centered to the pin. I'm centered to the pin, yes I am. And then you twist. 1 and 2. Done. Our chain is cut. Now that our chain is cut, I'm gonna wrap it around the small chain ring. Okay, let's bring it around the inside. Now, when it comes to the pulley, right? We have our large guide wheel and our jockey wheel, right? We wanna be on the inside of the wheel, but if you notice over here, hopefully you can see that well, there is a notch. We want to be on top of that notch. We don't want to be underneath that notch, right? So to give you an example, the way this works, we put it around the wheel, bring it on top. Oh, I'm in a bad position. Come on. It's so much harder doing this stuff when you're recording. Okay, let's spin it like that. There we go, right? And then we bring it around the inside of our lower wheel. And this way, our chain never touches that metal thing. See what I mean? Whereas if we put it on the other side, then it would touch it all the time. Next, we install the quick links. To do that, I made myself a third hand to make my life a little bit easier out of a coat hanger. We just take it and connect it just like that. All right, this way it makes it a lot easier to put a quick link together. So quick links are directional. They have an arrow on them. The arrow goes the direction of the chain, which is clockwise. So we're going to take this arrow and point it that way at the bottom of the chain. And then this arrow is going to be pointed, well, I mean, that link is, drop it just like that, right? And then we're going to take it and put it back on. Right now, let's connect them together. Make sure both sides are evenly connected. Right now it's not. Come on, fit in there. There we go. 1 click, 2 clicks. All right, now we could grab our tool and You don't need this tool. You could use it just using your pedal. Wow, that's stiff. There we go. And we are in. Worst case scenario, just push down on the pedal really hard and it should snap it into place. And our chain's installed. Before we connect the cable back to the derailleur, we want to make sure our barrel is set. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to spin it towards the back of the bike all the way. Okay. And then we're going to turn it towards the front of the bike, 6 to 8 clicks. Do 8 clicks if you've never done this before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's done. Before we install our cable, we want to set the high limit. So we have 3 limit screws. We have a high limit, a low limit, and a B limit up here. So high, low, and B limit. So first we're going to set the high limit. The limit screws, what they do, at least the high and the low limit, they stop the chain from falling off either between the smallest cog and the frame, which is the high limit, and the low limit stops the chain from falling between the largest cog and the wheel. That's the low limit. So, and then the B limit sets the distance between the guide wheel and the largest cog, right? So we're going to set the high limit first. And to do that, we're going to use a 2 millimeter. We're going to put it into the high limit, the H, and then turn it counterclockwise. There we go. So again, we should see the chain fall down to the first cock, right? Now, our goal over here to set it is to make sure that the teeth on the guide wheel falls just outside of the teeth this way of the smallest cog. Now this, I mean, for me, it's going to be a little bit hard, but you got to do this by eye essentially, right? So I'm looking straight down and I could definitely come a little bit more out. So again, counterclockwise brings it this way, clockwise pushes it towards the wheel. And if I look straight down now, that's actually looking really good to me right there, whatever I just did. So right now, that guide wheel, the teeth of the guide wheel, to me look like they're pretty much right outside the teeth of the smallest cog, right? So we could test this as well. To test it, put your finger on the frame and put your finger on the derailleur body and push outwards. And the goal here is to see if we could derail it, and it ain't moving anywhere. Now, we also could look at it, and we see that the teeth are falling pretty much right in the middle. Pretty exactly in the middle, actually. So we are doing good with the high limit. Now we put on the cable. For the cable, we have a mount over here, and that mount has a cover that we screw down in order to tighten the cable. Now, if we look at that mount, inside it, we have a channel or a seat. So that cable literally needs to sit. Let me see if I can make this better for you, clearer for you guys. Needs to sit within the seat just like, that's hard, just like that, okay? And it comes all the way up, so it wraps around. So the cable needs to go over this hump and then down into the seat, and then it comes back out the top, right? So to do that, let me first put this plate back in there. Give me a moment. If I can find it. There we go. I have the plate inside. Let me just hold this down so hopefully you guys can see it better. Now I'm going to take, we have to make sure that we are in our lowest gear right now, right? Or our highest gear technically. So that I'm going to take this cable and wrap it all the way around until it comes up just like that. And make sure it's sitting in its seat. It needs to sit in that seat. Then I'm going to grab my 4 millimeter. Oh, camera's in the way, always in the way. And I'm going to screw it down for now. Take a look at it. Yep, it's sitting in its seat on that side and it's coming out in the seat on this side. So we are good. So next what I need to do is pull it tight. And to do that, to help me out, because I have such a short cable over here, hopefully your cable's longer, I'm gonna need to grab a plier here to help me out. And basically, so now I'm gonna have to pull on this cable via plier until the cable's nice and tight. So loosen it. You won't have to use a plier if you have a long cable, full cable. Like I said, this is a used cable. Barely used, but cut nonetheless. And tighten it nice and tight. And we should be nice and snug. So next we're gonna set the low limit. So we have to bring the derailleur all the way to the top. Now, if I try it right now, I bet you I'm not gonna be able to make it up there because this is a brand new derailleur. So what I'm gonna need to do is take my 2 millimeter and counterclockwise moves it this way, clockwise brings it in, right? So if I keep on turning it counterclockwise, that should, 1 and 2. Okay, now Our goal here is to line up the top of the guide teeth to the middle of the largest pulley teeth, and they need to be in the middle. Now, where I'm at right now is really hard to tell because camera and the lights and all that stuff's in the way, right? But, I mean, right now it's looking pretty good from the top down, that's for sure. But we could test this as well. The way we test it, grab the frame with your fingers, push against your thumb. We do not want this thing to fall off when we apply pressure. So I'm applying a good amount of pressure, actually, and it's not moving anywhere, right? And to be honest, that's looking pretty good. I might have fluked it off my first shot just turning it up there, to be honest. Let's go a little bit more out just in case. Let me see if that'll work. Okay, so far so good. So I should be able to go down. Not all that bad. We are definitely getting there. Let's set our B limit now. Now, to set the B limiter, we have to line up these teeth to this line over here, okay? Now, there's that silver screw on the other side that I showed you before. We're gonna put our 2mm in there, and we're gonna turn counterclockwise. We'll shrink the gap. Clockwise, we'll widen the gap. Again, I can't see well because of the angle of bond. Let me see if I can take a good look over here, but let's try and get it right about there. Okay. Yep, just around. Can't tell really, but I mean, I'll figure it out later in detail, but ultimately I should be pretty close. So what I'm gonna do as a small tweak is first, from the lowest cog, or the smallest cog, I'm gonna go up one gear to the second smallest cog, all right? And then I'm gonna press my shifter back to the lowest cog, right? And then what I'm gonna do is grab the 4mm for the cable tension screw, right? Grab my plier, since I don't have enough room, loosen it just a little bit, pull the plier just a touch, right? Or in your case, use your hand. You're better off not using a plier, but I really don't have much of a choice here. Tighten it, and then we test it. Should immediately go back down. There we go. Now let's go up. Oop, I got a sticking spot there. Figure that one out. So I'm definitely sticking for some odd reason. Going, wow. Okay, so we can fix that. So let's go up. Let's try the rest. The rest are nice and smooth. Oh, the rest are really smooth. Go back up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Let's go back up again. Real smooth. So I just got a sticking spot on my third smallest cog going up. 1, 2. So let's see if I could fix that with, that's odd actually. Wonder what's causing that. That seems pretty excessive. I mean, looking at the back over here, you know what? I think it might have a wider gap than it should. That is so hard to tell. No, it looks even. So that is not a normal skip. That tells me something's absolutely wrong. Going down is good. The only reason that's clicking is because of moving the barrel. If I move it back, that clicking will stop. There we go. But again, that moves good. That is not good. I'm gonna have to take out the cassette again and make sure that it's sitting well. To remove the cassette, we're gonna need our cassette tool, right? And the problem is we cannot turn it counterclockwise on its own because the whole cassette will turn, right? So what we're gonna need is a chain whip of some sort. So this is one type of chain whip. This will stop the cassette from moving. Or you could use something like this, which is a little bit more handy for certain situations like this, okay? So I'm gonna hold it between two teeth, just like that. Now I could grab my cassette tool, make sure it's in the teeth well. Okay, and a bad spot. There we go. And now let's take off our cap and let's check our teeth and make sure they are sitting correctly. So it's the third tooth that is the issue. Okay, something's wrong right off the bat. This does not want to come apart. There we go. Don't need that. And this is the tooth in question. Come on, stupid glove. All right. Now, why is this acting up? I have a spacer here. Is the spacer not supposed to be there? I don't think the spacer is supposed to be behind here. I'm pretty sure the spacer is supposed to be between, wow, look at that, there's a chip on that already. Micro Spline sucks. XD driver's rule. Okay, so that is in there correctly. And then it should be spacer, and then it should be this one here. Let me go verify that. I was right as far as the ordering with the spacer, but from what I think I've discovered, the third cog wasn't fully seated down. It might have been on an angle, just a little bit of an angle, which is pretty weird, right? So right now, everything, when I look at it sideways, looks to be even. So let me put my cap back on and screw it in by hand first, always by hand. Grab our bench. Okay, let's make sure we're torqued down at a reasonable. There we go. 40. Now let's put it back on the bike and see how it works. Now let's try it again. Ah, perfect. Huh. Go figure. Oh yeah, that smooth goes up and down pretty smooth. Actually coming down is a little bit rough, but I'm sure we will tidy that up. Let's try that again. Flawless. Okay, so we figured out the problem. Make sure all those cogs are sitting perfectly flat. It wasn't off by much, guys. It was off by such a little bit, right? But right now, everything seems to be working just great. Super smooth, coming down is a little bit rough, but from here on, we're talking micro adjustments. So ultimately, the barrel. So I bet you if I bring in the barrel in a couple of clicks, there we go. Actually, I think that just solved it. Yep, 2 clicks on the barrel, and that's looking much better. And as we ride, we are going to tighten it up a little bit more because the cable will stretch. I'm going to have to compensate for that. And that's pretty much it from here on. Okay, so last but not least, let's put our end cap on. Put the end cap on. I'm going to grab this little tool over here that Park Tools made. I love it for end caps. I know it's a luxury expense, but it really is convenient, folks. Let's put it in there. Actually, I do have a fray, but I think I just took care of it. Squeeze down. Now my cap is on. And that's pretty much it. Ta-da! And there you have it, folks. You just finished installing a Shimano XTR 12-speed drivetrain. Super easy job, and really no different than the 11-speed, right? Very minor differences, if that at all. So don't make the same mistake I did when installing the cassette. But if you notice, like I said, the cassette did not sit properly. It was off by the slightest amount. And yet I had a tough time shifting from the second to the third cog. It did not want to shift to it. So as you ride it, if you have a brand new cable, the cable will stretch. You'll adjust for that with the barrel on the remote. And ultimately, you'll micro adjust using the barrel of the remote as you go out there and test it out for your first few rides. Make sure to clean your chain. Make sure to grease it regularly so your chain lasts as long as it could. And the only thing left is basically go out there and have fun with it. So, folks, if you like this video, please click that like button, man. Click that subscribe button to see more videos. Click that bell button, ding, 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 in order to get notified when new videos get released. And more videos like this are coming. If you want to check out a couple of videos right now, you can check these 2 out. They might be of interest. And until the next time, I hope all is well with all of you, and we will be talking to you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.